The Emerging Trend of Immersion Classrooms, brought to you by Jessica Dennis, Ryann Kelley, and Crystal Mae Waugh. Immersion Education. This presentation will give you a brief overview about the emerging trend of immersion education. What is it? What is its history? What types of programs exist? What are the advantages? And what are some of the challenges?
Porque es importante que usted esté en esta clase hablando español. Levántese.
Puedo hablar otros idiomas para ayudar a otras personas que están en otros lugares.
Excelente, Kiaria, levántese. Es importante.
Es importante porque puede ir a otros países que hablan español y pueden ayudar.
¿Ayudar a quién?
A las personas que hablan español.
Immersion education is an emerging trend all over the world. Its ideology is based upon the findings that people learn new languages best when immersed in the language. This is how children learn their native language, and it has become a model for second language acquisition. Schools across the United States are adopting immersion and bilingual programs in many second languages, including Spanish, French, Chinese, Japanese, German, and Native American languages. There are many different types of immersion programs depending on the amount of first or second language used. At one end of the spectrum are total immersion programs, where all classroom instruction is in the second language. At the other end are foreign language experience programs, where classes may meet only once or twice a week, and where the goal is not to develop language proficiency, but rather to introduce children to one or more foreign languages and cultures. Immersion education is not a new idea, as it has been around for hundreds of years. Language immersion instruction involves teaching subject matter in a student's second language. Core subjects like math, science, social studies, reading, and writing are conducted in the language the student is learning. Unlike in traditional language classes, where the students are simply learning vocabulary, grammar, and pronunciation, in language immersion, students are expected to learn the aspects of the language without being explicitly taught the rules of the language. According to Walker and Teddick, two professors of second languages and cultures education at the University of Minnesota, language immersion programs originated in Canada about 40 years ago and are today a language education program model used for a variety of purposes and across a wide range of social, cultural, and political contexts. Dual immersion programs have grown in the United States since the 1980s. This is due in large part to the competitive global economy, an increase in second language learners, and success of other programs. Language immersion classes are located throughout the United States, in both public and private schools, in urban and suburban areas, in different languages and different types of programs. According to the Directory of Two-Way Bilingual Immersion Programs in the U.S., there are 384 immersion schools on record throughout the nation today. In Boston, there are 3 two-way bilingual immersion programs for Spanish and 1 bilingual program available for Chinese.
东东，那个不是二，哪一个是二呀？想一想，二长得是什么样子的？二长得是什么样子？有谁能来帮他？凯凯，你来帮他。哦，不是。对了，那个是二，东东，你要记住了啊。对了，那是二。
In a full or total immersion classroom, all students must have the same language in common to begin with. The teacher or all teachers must be bilingual in both the first language and the second language, and all courses are taught in the second language. In a partial immersion program, at least 50% of the instruction should be in the second language. These programs are usually divided equally between English and the immersion language. Two-way immersion program is also referred to as dual immersion. It is an integrated model of bilingual education in which the student population consists of speakers of two or more languages. Ideally speaking, half of the class is made up of native speakers of the major language in the area, for example, English in the United States, and the other half is of the target language, for example, Spanish. Class time is split in half and taught in the major and content languages. Two-way immersion programs are becoming more common in teaching ESL, English as a second language, students, and are replacing ESL instruction. Students can help each other learn the languages and cultures through positive interactions among the students.
哎，这是一横，哎呦，这叫这 straight line 是什么呀？竖，对了，是一竖。哎呦，老师要一个，看着老师弄啊。好嘞。对了。
One advantage of immersion education is that students enrolled in these programs are encouraged to be more culturally open and to have friends from more diverse backgrounds. This will hopefully follow them into their adult life, making them more open-minded and accepting of others and differences that exist among people and nations. Students may also develop a higher self-esteem from the accomplishment of working and studying and learning in two different languages. Language immersion programs can be an effective way of learning a new language and culture.
The mission of Twin Cities German Immersion School is to educate bilingual children for an international future.
We have a really terrific curriculum that's quite well-rounded.
When I started, I didn't know any German.
Being bilingual teaches you intellectual adaptability.
Ich mag mit meinen Freunden spielen und auch neue Freunde lernen.
Unfortunately, there are challenges and obstacles facing immersion schools. The resources and supplies needed by teachers who teach immersion classes are different from those of teachers who teach in one language. Due to budgeting issues, lack of funding, and the lack of resources and supplies available in the United States, it can make the establishment and support of immersion programs difficult. When hiring immersion teachers, it will be difficult to judge their ability of speaking the languages fluently and their content knowledge skills. Hiring teachers will become a more difficult process because there are more criteria. Another concern is the use of the second language or minority language outside the classroom walls. There is no one to enforce, unless it is a school rule, that students use a certain language in the hallways, cafeteria, recess, etc. Many of the students only speak one language at home, so there is no reinforcement from the parents, nor are the parents able to help with homework or questions in the second language.
The alphabet song is recognized in any language, even Cherokee. This group of kindergartners is being immersed in their native tongue and learning by singing familiar songs they already know in English. Fluent speaking teachers guide the classes.
Come.
The Cherokee Immersion program began in 2001 and is for 3-year-olds up to 4th grade. No English is spoken here, Cherokee only.
Immersion education is so important today because only 9% of Americans, compared with 44% of Europeans, speak a foreign language fluently. Only 50% of U.S. high school students study a foreign language. Our students are failing and falling behind of knowledge of other countries and cultures. Spanish is becoming the #1 spoken language in the United States. It is imperative that students within the United States learn a second language so that they may be competitive in today's global economy and that they may be culturally responsive and cognizant.
Yes!